Welcome to our webinar today about Microsoft 365 Business Premium. I'm Eve and this is Ricky.
Good afternoon. So again, thank you everyone for attending today's event on 365 Business Premium. Today we'll be looking into more detail the benefits of upgrading to Business Premium. With the ever-growing concerns over security, we are finding more of our customers are making the move to Business Premium, as this will also unlock more features and benefits, which we will cover in today's events. We'll also be looking at how CSG can also future-proof your business with the upgrades to the licenses within your business. At the end, we will have Q&A, and please, if you have any questions, please use the box at the top and we will collect them and answer as many as possible at the end. So the speakers, we're thankfully joined by Dan. Dan is a Microsoft trainer. He's been in the industry for a very, very long time. Also joined by Eve, our marketing manager at CSG, and myself, Ricky, who is the regional sales director. Just want to take this opportunity just to say a few words about who we are as a company if you are new to us. The company was established back in 1985, so we're quite a long established IT provider within Wales and the South West. We have multiple offices across the UK and currently have a turnover of 4.5 million. Our services has expanded over the years, so we cover everything from IT support, IT infrastructure. We also offer cloud services, which includes the Microsoft Azure. We also do telecoms, and obviously another big part of our business is cyber security, to ensuring that you are protected with the latest technologies. We're also a Surplus Gold partner with a Data Gold partner as well. We're also Cyber Essentials Plus certified as well, so peace of mind that you know what your data is protected by CSG. We're also accredited with a 2 Solutions designation partner. CSG has achieved the double Microsoft Solutions designation for modern work and Azure infrastructure for the second consecutive year. The bar has been raised by Microsoft over the years to obtain certifications and require a broader range of expertise and experience. The Solutions designation is more exclusive than the original Gold certification, which only a few hundred partners in the UK compared to a few thousand that there was previously. CSG is recognised for its technical capabilities, experience and successful customer outcomes in the Microsoft cloud technologies.
Cool, I think that's everything, and the last slide is introducing myself.
Yes, there we are, on to Dan.
Cool, thank you very much. Cheers Ricky, cheers Eve. So as mentioned, my name's Dan. I'm working on behalf of CSG today. Thank you very much for letting me come and talk to you. Massive, always excited to talk about M365. As Ricky mentioned, I've been a part of the Microsoft ecosystem for longer than I can care to remember. A very long time, back when SharePoint wasn't even called SharePoint. So that kind of shows the age in there. But actually, the kind of experience that I've seen and the evolution of M365 over the last 10 years has been really, really cool. Now, in today's presentation, looking through, we're just going to go through this. So setting expectations, we'll have a look around, the current state of business. What are our challenges we face? I see lockdown personally is one of the biggest changes in our ecosystem, in our entire computing system. Possibly since the introduction of cloud. We're looking at how M365 can help those. We're looking at collaboration tools. We're looking at some of the in-depth security tools as well, making sure that, as Ricky mentioned there, security should be top of mind of everything we talk around. And actually, in this ever-changing landscape where we talk around security, identity security, we've got more dispersed workforce. There's a load of stuff we can bring in from there. Briefly touch on Defender for Business, and then we'll open it up for some Q&As at the end as well. Like Ricky and Eve mentioned, if there's any questions at all throughout, if you want to pop it into the little text box on the chat there, I'll be looking at that sporadically, but also Ricky and Eve can have a look at that. If there's anything that we need to answer at the end, we absolutely can, but please feel free to do that. I hope you get a lot out of this presentation. So for the next kind of 45 minutes, I'll be talking on this, and yeah, I'll see you on the other side. So for us today, our world has massively changed. Like I say, I personally see 2020 back in February, which is 4 years ago. really, really scary how long ago that was, but how quick that also seems as well. A lot changed overnight, right? We found ourselves instantly working in an instant cloud environment. And for a lot of customers, we'd never done that before. You know, normally 99% of businesses I spoke to had the security of working in an office. In an office, we had security in place. We had a network manager. We had a firewall. We normally had registered devices. We had devices that were enrolled with the right security, and everything was kind of looked after. Then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, we found ourselves using solutions we maybe had never used before, i.e. Teams or SharePoint. We relied heavily on cloud computing. Security kind of went all up in the air. We had people working from shared devices, people bringing their own devices, if there wasn't any available. If you remember the big drought of February 2020, you couldn't buy a mouse, a keyboard, a webcam, or anything at all. You literally had to do with the device you had and hope it was a good one from work. So we've got this environment now. We have more devices, more different ways of securing those devices, shared Wi-Fi, shared environments, and actually the way we work has changed as well. Now, before I start this, I want us to have a little think about our current usage of IT, right? Because in my mind, we are light years ahead in our business life than we are, sorry, in our personal life than we are in our business life. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, in our personal life, we use biometric security and multi-factor authentication every single day for pretty much everything we do. If we want to pay for something, we need to use facial recognition or thumbprint recognition. If we want to log on to applications, we use biometric security or we use MFA. And actually, we're seeing businesses now realizing that, hey, if we're doing it in our business life, in our personal life, we have to get there in our business life as well. And it's exactly the same with Azure. Right? Azure is this big, scary, complex product that I've dealt with for years, and even sometimes I sit there and get a bit confused looking at it. But ultimately, if we take our personal life, we live in an Azure environment. And what I mean by that is, on my mobile phone now, if I need more storage, I pay 99p a month. I can scale up my storage needs. When I don't need that storage anymore, I stop paying for it. It's on-demand computing. The same way with backups. 10, 15 years ago, my absolute faithful Sony Ericsson mobile phone, and if anyone remembers anything like that, or Nokia N gauges or anything at all, if you needed storage for your phone, you used to go and have to physically buy storage, whether it's a little 64 or 128 SSD card, pop it in your phone. And if you ever lost your phone, you would be up the creek. You had to hope you had your phone numbers written down somewhere. You had to buy a new phone, get it all set up. Today's environment, everything is pushed onto the cloud. It's kind of following with our business life as well. And then also AI. We're not talking AI today, it's not an AI session, but AI is also going to come into that conversation when we're talking about future-proofing. Now, the challenges we face, we talked about earlier on, lockdown was to blame for all of this. Communication tools making collaboration harder than it should be. There's something like a 400% increase in the amount of data we are now consuming in our day-to-day life. 4 times the amount of data since before lockdown. And if you think about it, in your business now, if you need to send someone a file, how are you doing it? Now, you can only put 30 meg onto a Outlook attachment. So that leaves either you can WeTransfer something, you can put it on Dropbox, you can put it on Google Drive, you can put it on OneDrive, SharePoint. You can upload it to SharePoint and send it as a link. You can send it directly from SharePoint, directly from OneDrive. You can send it on a Teams message, on an email, or even on a call, on a meeting. Right? There's more ways than ever to share documents. And if anyone is like me, I get quite frustrated finding them. And also with the communication as well, we have more meetings than we've ever had. You know, before lockdown, we maybe had 1 or 2 meetings online, or maybe 3 or 4 in my case. Now I have a meeting about a meeting. And then after that, I have the meeting about the meeting following the meeting. Right? So we can all kind of get along with this right here. Hybrid working, again, hybrid work is absolutely brilliant. It's showing that actually businesses don't have to physically stay in one place to have success. However, with this work comes that challenges. How do we make sure devices are set up correctly? How do we make sure we minimize downtime if something goes wrong? How do we make sure we can get information in people's hands or have a backup in place immediately if that device goes wrong? Ultimately, a device will end up going wrong, get stolen, get dropped, get broken. Any plethora of things can happen, but we can't let that be a blocker. And also as well, security. Just for full disclosure on this, bit of like a level 10 geek. So I do security journaling, which means I sit there and try and break systems and I feed back to people what's wrong with their systems. Security is becoming a huge risk, more than ever so has. And it's because of the 2 things above. We're communicating in more ways. We're uploading data into more places. I always have a bit of a head-in-hand moment when people send me stuff on WeTransfer, just because it's like, okay, where's your data going? Have you actually read the box on who owns that data, who's got access to it after you've sent it? And actually, even things like being able to restrict data. Once you've sent data to someone, how do we make sure that we can stop them seeing it if we wanted to? Sorry, literally, I just saw something fly past my balcony and it was like a scene of Twister. Someone's umbrella's broken off outside the balcony. I apologize about the silence there. So really, right-hand side, we see multiple personal devices. People actually now have more expensive personal devices than they do work devices. If you think about it, my mobile phone is probably better than a mobile phone work will give me. My personal devices can be better than that. Sometimes people want to bring their own devices to work. Again, we should be careful of it. Phishing, ransomware, and multiple locations is quite a big breeding ground of stuff when it comes to it. Now, just so we're clear what we're talking about today, here is what Microsoft offer. Microsoft has gone through many names of many different products over the last 10 years. I remember when it was Office, you used to be able to Office cows, and then it was Office Home, Office Home and Business, Office Home and Student, there's Office 2016, and then we eventually got to M365. Now, the one we're looking at the bottom is M365 Business Premium. And you can see as we go along from Business Basic, the apps, which is only online, Business Standard to Business Premium, there's a huge gap in actually what you get and for the return on investment on there. Now, obviously, M365 is cloud computing. And what I mean by cloud computing is no matter where you access your applications from, whether it's online, whether it's on not your device, someone else's device, you have exactly the same experience. You have access to all of your files, all of your applications, everything is where it should be. It's one of the best benefits of M365. But Business Premium starts to actually push that to a bit more extreme in terms of the capabilities you get. And you'll notice most of it is actually based around security. Now, on a side note, I look a little bit stupid, right? Because I spent 3 years going around to everyone saying, hey, Windows 10 is going to be the last operating system that's ever going to be released. And M365 is probably not going to go through another revision. 3 years later, I'm going around to everyone saying, hey, Windows 10 is going end of support and Windows 11 is coming out. And actually, there's a whole load of updates on M365 Business Premium. And the whole reason for that is security and productivity. Windows 10 was not fit for purpose in the world that we found ourselves in. Much in the same way as you started to see cloud services and cloud computing from M365, it wasn't set up in the right way for what we found ourselves in from 2020 onwards. So now we've got the revised version of M365, we've got Windows 11, collaborating together makes everything a lot better. Big things you'll see on the bottom, we've got things such as information protection, Intune, conditional access, cloud app security, Defender for O365. I'm going to talk through those a bit later on. But just on a real kind of like-for-like comparison, those bottom parts there, so the Intune, which is device management, and the information protection, which is stopping the wrong information go to the wrong people, those two things, individual solutions, probably worth about £30 a month per user if you're going to license out. There's a huge saving to be had looking into the M365 Business Premium landscape on there. Now, before we start and going in depth and stuff, a couple of hidden gems that people do not realize you've got in M365 Business Premium. First of all, Planner. Planner for me is one of the best things that I have. Planner, I can literally add on a Teams chat very quickly, go into my planner and say, okay, me and Ricky have got a project we're working on today. Deadline's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I just say 9 o'clock. I type Ricky's name. I type mine's name. Automatically, I will get a reminder at the end of the day saying you have tasks outstanding. For collaboration tools, this has absolutely changed. If you're going to be looking at AI in the future, this is also going to integrate massively with this. So Planner is an absolute one. You can access this now with Business Premium. Just go onto the All Apps and have a look at Planner. Some of the other stuff you've got as well. Bookings, being able to have a customer-facing bookings page where you can process payments, take bookings based on calendar availability, be accessible as possible to your end users, right? I think one of the things that I didn't mention at the start is when we have our personal life versus business life, we are so accessible in our personal life. You can get hold of someone via phone, text, WhatsApp, Insta, TikTok, Twitter, email, SMS, iMessage, in a plethora of ways that you want to get hold of people. But also as well, we need to kind of put that into our business life as well. So things like bookings, it's a free tool included, but actually it can be customer facing. It can allow integration with your calendars so that if you deal with customers and saying, hey, when can we book a meeting in? Cool, go through bookings, it will show the availability. It will let people directly book meetings with you. And like I say, it can also handle payments with that as well. Same with automation and streamlining, so Power Apps and Power Automate. Out of the box solutions are absolutely fantastic, but every single one of you on this call has an individual need for your computing. I think anyone would be naive to think not. Power Automate and Power Apps allows you to build an application very quickly for your need. Now this, without AI, because like I said, today's not a Copilot session, but without Copilot, Power Automate and Power App is incredibly powerful. The ability to build natively anything, automate processes, pull vast amount of data off from vast amount of data sources and kind of instantly see it. Absolutely incredible. Same with Clipchamp. Clipchamp is a built-in video editor, and it probably rival, if you don't use video editing that much, if you're not familiar with things like Premiere Pro or DaVinci on Resolve, Clipchamp can have you up and running, making really, really good videos in minutes. Being able to screen record, being able to pull in different videos from different meetings, etc., etc. Basically, it allows us to be as productive as possible without having to massively upskill. Then you've got things like Viva Insights. Viva Insights is, I use Viva Insights to go, hey, block some time out of my calendar so I don't get meetings this week. And it automatically puts times in based around the meetings I do have to make sure people can't book it in. It gives me focus time. It tells me what I need to do for tasks. But also as well, Viva Insights for you as an end user, you can go through and you can see the uptake of your product per person in your business. You can see how much time people are spending on different applications. If there's any challenges, if there's any issues, you can get a report. If you're trying to streamline work processes, you can do things such as, okay, well, we're spending this much time on Teams meetings. Can we start trying to aim to lower our Teams meeting time or the response time back to customers or end users, et cetera, et cetera. So the hidden gems, and the biggest one that I use, like I say, is Planner. I have too many people that I speak to day in, day out to even try and write down by hand and then put it onto notes. And also as well, if I'm in a meeting quickly, I can just bring Planner up and chuck something in there. And I can tag anyone that I want to in. It will go into their diary. It goes into my diary. We get updates on it. You know, you got something due on Thursday. You haven't done it yet. Should we spend some time doing it now? It uses like basic AI features in there. Really, really good tool for collaboration. Really good tool. If you're using things like Slack or anything like that, it's also quite a nice rival to that, and it's included with your M365 Business Premium subscription. Now, going into this, security, like I say, should be something that we lead with in every single way. But security isn't just internet security; it's not just antivirus. For now on, that security journey has to go kind of from the beginning. So first of all, Intune. Intune is a way to manage any device that's on your system. You log on to Intune, you can push out policies, push out updates. You can manage the device, you can manage the user, manage the licenses, and everything through one click of a button. You can even go through and set up multiple policies and just push it out with a click of a button for everyone. So it's a real good way of doing that. It doesn't shut anything down while you're doing it. And actually from a service point of view, it's a real easy, nice feature to use. Information protection, we're going to go through that later on, and conditional access, but those two things are key. Basically, it makes sure that whoever's accessing your data is the right person, the right device with the right behavior. One of my favorite things in security is conditional access, and when we break it down, I'll tell you why. But basically, Microsoft understand that every step along the way, it's not just about protecting your files. It's not just about protecting access onto the internet and making sure you don't get a virus on an email. From every step along the way, from the moment you power your device on, you're being secured by Microsoft, and the tools on there are really handy for it. So being able to secure the device, secure the identity, secure your access, and then also once you've sent files out into the ether, being able to secure those as well. We'll break that down a bit later on in the presentation. So what do you want? I've written down what you, hopefully, the customer want from solutions. Basically, you want all of your business needs met. If you think about it, we need an easy way to communicate, an easy way to collate our data, an easy way to send our data, an easy way to manage our projects. And if we can hit those kind of four things there, I was going to say trifecta, but there's four, so it's a cuboid. If we can hit the cuboid of kind of golden targets there, we've really done a good job in doing it. So how does Microsoft help you do that? How does M365 Business Premium get you onto that journey? Well, first of all, saving costs. Everything you do is into the M365 suite. Now, if you've used M365, you'll understand how easy it is to use. The other thing is that you can actually increase your security probably by 20 or 30% just by deploying Business Premium. Okay, there's no licensing, there's no complexity, or sorry, there's licensing, there's no complexity that goes with it. Deployment is single sign-on. So one of the best bits of Autopilot and Intune is that, say I run a business, I've got a new employee in Scotland. They don't want to travel to London. I don't want to travel up to Scotland because I haven't got time. What we can do is I can buy a device from distribution. I can send it direct from distribution to the end user. All the end user has to do is put their email address and password in and connect to the internet, and it gets imaged remotely, gets all the correct policies in place, all the correct applications, all the correct licenses, and all the correct usage types. We actually use this in our business here. Like I say, we're quite a small business, but we're all spread out over the country, and a couple of people in Europe. I am the network manager, so what I go through and do is I just make sure, look, we push updates on. Someone lost their device, it got stolen. So we just bought them a new device. They told me all the information for it. We registered it, enrolled it, and within 2 hours they were back up and running fully again with pretty much zero downtime. Okay, so some of the benefits there, you're saving costs in 2 areas. One, you don't have to do it yourself. Actually, imaging the device takes quite a long time, 2 hours, hour and a half. You've got to flash it, you've got to put the USB in it, boot it from USB, put the right stuff on. Even talking about saving the planet, we don't have to have 2 or 3 different delivery costs. We can send something straight out. Again, that deployment and single sign-on makes life so much easier. Also, as well, it reduces the amount of help desk tickets coming through. Password resets. People who do their own password resets with authentication that's GDPR compliant, they can go through. It saves 90% of all help desk tickets. 87% technically is the official number on there. From the security side of it, actually, security, you can access your data from anywhere in the most secure environment ever. You're completely GDPR compliant, you're completely compliant with NIST regulations, and anything else that comes out on NIST 2.0, Microsoft gives you complete autonomy and complete security with that. Throughout the stack that we'll look at later on as well, it also helps you make sure that anything you do. Now, I'm stupid. I'll say this out loud. I click on links, I download files, I send files on the internet, I will scan in QR codes, I'll talk to people that aren't in my organization. I am the perfect user for a data breach, right? Because there's so much going on. And actually, if you think about it, how much your workload has increased, all of us could have the potential to be me, right? We could all click the wrong button. We could all be a victim of phishing. We could all be a victim of email spoofing. So actually, Microsoft put stuff in place that 80–90% of that can be taken out before it even reaches you. So you're nice and secure there. Management cost 50% reduction, data breach risk by 45%, user risk is more 90%. And then lastly, improved productivity. We talk security all day long, we can talk getting set up and deployment, but actually, I just want access to my files. That's all I need to do. I want to turn my PC on, have access to my files, send my files, edit my files, and that's it. If I can't be on my PC, I just still need access to them. And I think that's sometimes what we lose a bit of the focus on is we just need a streamlined environment. We just need to be able to access our data, use our data, and do our job. And if we can have something that helps us do that instinctively and makes it really easy to do, because of the M365 environment, it's powered by the cloud. Reduce office space, reduce utilities costs, hybrid business practice, lower travel expenses, lower a lot of stress on infrastructure. Actually, anyone can work from anywhere at any time. If, God forbid, we ever have another lockdown scenario, instantly we could just go back on, turn our PCs on, everyone's secure, everyone's compliant, everything's in place to make sure we can access our data without sacrificing the access part from there. So it's a pretty nice little opportunity, a little nice proposition when we start breaking it down. Now, I'm going to go through this. I don't have to talk to you about Teams, hopefully not. Hopefully you're all using Teams. If you aren't using Teams, it's an absolutely great tool to have. But the hybrid working kind of solution from Microsoft, basically on here, boost productivity by helping employees to work wherever they are. We've all been there trying to access data when we've been outside of work, right? But now with M365, up to 5 users or 5 devices per user, 5 laptops, 5 phones, 5 tablets, that's up to 15 devices per user can be enrolled and signed on. If I access any documents on my phone in real time, I have exactly the same experience as if I go on my laptop. If I go onto my iPad, if I go onto someone else's laptop and log on, I have exactly the same experience. Go through, obviously, with Teams. Teams, as it evolved, much more than just a fancy Skype for business. When it first came out, I just thought exactly that. It's just a fancy Skype for business. I cannot live without Teams. I collaborate, I work, I do all of my projects on there, I run all of my applications on the side. I don't really tend to go on SharePoint, I just run everything through Teams because it's native to use, it's easy to use, and actually the features on there are just getting better and better. You can also put, this isn't a telephony thing on here, but the Teams calling features that you can have as well. If you're looking at minimizing your infrastructure costs, putting stuff onto Teams is a good way of doing it, and buying dedicated Teams hardware, or if you just want to have a couple of phone numbers on your Teams account as well, it also works quite nicely on there. The other good thing about Teams, it actually makes people feel part of the meeting. I have a lot of meetings where I can't be present in the room for whatever reason. Many times I've sat on the side of service stations or in hotel lobby rooms just trying to jump onto a meeting, but still, we've all had bad meetings where people can't hear each other, there's a delay, there's lag. Actually, Teams fixes that. Teams gives you a bit of a better experience when it comes to it. Some of the other stuff in Teams in M365 as well is some of the extra security features you get inside Teams meetings. One of the biggest things that I see people don't talk about often enough is that, do you remember in lockdown when we had people would just join in Zoom meetings whenever they wanted? They were just putting a code in and they were finding a random meeting. I think Boris Johnson even got targeted at one point. You can't actually do that in Teams. In Teams, you have to authenticate by, the token gets authenticated by the link that you click, but you have to be authenticated before you can get it. So in theory, no one could just join your meeting. If you're doing a live event like this, and yes, someone could join, but on a meeting, it's near on impossible for somebody to hijack a meeting because they can't get past the authentication. The other stuff you use Teams as a platform as ready-made solutions, right? If you've got any applications that you use on M365 or in conjunction with it, you can use in Teams as well. Things like Adobe, things like signing contracts, Adobe Sign, Adobe Acrobat, all gets integrated in there. If you're using Trello, third-party apps, even crypto payments and stuff like that is included in it. You can also build your applications and build your ticketing systems on that. I'm seeing a lot of companies expand their ticketing solutions and just running it through Teams. It makes it nice and easy to do. Now, let's break it down into security. Now, it's always interesting to me talking about security and Microsoft. People do not think of Microsoft as a security company, and they'd probably be quite right to, because everyone thinks of Microsoft as a software house, as an operating system house, and as a solution house. However, they do a lot more than that. Hopefully on the slide here, just a couple of things you can see. 73 trillion signals are analyzed daily by Microsoft on their security side. And what I mean by that is because Microsoft security spans the entire ecosystem of M365, from Azure to M365 to applications to OS. Everything you do is being scanned by Microsoft for any breaches or any security risks. Every time you log on, any authentication, any file, any message, any email is being analyzed. And if one thing gets found, the update gets pushed to the entire wider network. Right? It's kind of like having Skynet from Terminator. Everything is in sync, everything is there, and it's protecting constantly against it. So the coverage they have and the ability to look into everything from a security point is absolutely phenomenal. And it means that actually you're protected on there. Same with things, 32 billion emails are blocked annually. They're monitoring 140 threat groups, 40 nation state groups, and their investment is £18 billion in the next 5 years into security on it. Now we talk security for top of minds. Why should it be top of minds? Ransomware has gone up 300%. If anyone doesn't know what ransomware is, most famous was the NHS WannaCry attack a couple of years ago. Someone sent a file to someone in the NHS, they opened it and it used encryption against them. They end up paying millions to get their systems back. Nowadays, people aren't going after big companies, people are going after small companies. Small companies and locking them out and saying, look, pay me $2,000 and you can have your system back. If you don't pay me 2,000, you're not having your system back. And we're seeing more and more this happening, because £2,000 is a lot of money. And you know, having that in today's environment, it is quite an easy way to go into businesses and to target. Some of the stats on there: 1 in 4 SMBs have had a security breach in the last year. I personally would say it's half of SMBs. Half of customers probably had a security breach. They just don't report it for whatever reason. Loss of confidence from customers, loss of reputation. I think the number's a lot higher than that. 70% people think cyber threats become more of a risk. I think that should be 100%. Cyber threats are 100% become more of a risk, even down to things like scanning QR codes. Top tip from me: don't scan QR codes. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong in that. Also, as well, cybersecurity solutions and having a go-to for that is also something worth looking into. Now, what can you do with this? What can you do with M365 Business Premium Security? First of all of your needs are met in terms of security-wise. In terms of management, in terms of solutions, in terms of how Microsoft and CSG can support you in that. It's able to go through and to make sure you've got a real nice rollout from there. The same way of this, right? If we have a look at actually what it covers, and we mentioned earlier on user, device, application, document. First of all, identity security, Active Directory. The artist formerly known as Active Directory is now called Entra. MFA will secure you on that. Self-service password reset. You know, network managers. I've never met a network manager that wants to do more work. I've been a network manager. I don't want to do more work. Password resets take up an incredible amount of resource and incredible amount of time on there. Conditional access. We're going to look at this, but conditional access is an incredibly powerful thing, and also dynamic groupings. Dynamic groupings and conditional access basically is your gateway into your SharePoint. It's the gateway into your data. Onboarding and offboarding, making sure people have got the right permission groups and permission routes. It is something that takes up a lot of time. I do a lot of work with end user SharePoints, and sometimes just going in and working out how has this person got access to this, or this person can't access this. Actually, we need to do something about this. So going through and using conditional access dynamic groups, again, it's included free with the product, makes a big difference. On your device security, we go through from Intune. So we can manage the device, enroll the device, push out, right, you must be on this, this, and this. Remote of lost or stolen encryption. So again, rather than having encryption used against you, we're using encryption against would-be potential threat actors. Also on top of that as well, means that your data can't be leaked out anywhere. Literally, we're going to look into this a bit later on the document security. Lastly as well, strong PIN requirements. What you can do is you can say, look, even if you are joining my network on your personal mobile phone, in order to access my data, you must have at least an 8-digit PIN number on there. I can't see what you're doing, but I'm going to put some policies in place to go through on this. App security. App security is a good one. Things like actually preventing files being saved, files being screenshotted, documents being copied or uploaded to certain websites. You know, if you don't have Google Drive for Business and you start seeing loads of data getting uploaded onto Google Drive, block it. You can click on the button, block it from there. So copy, paste, save corporate data. You can set those policies for mobile devices as well. So even if people are accessing data on mobile devices, if they do a screenshot, it goes blank. If they try and copy it, they can't do it. You get a notification they are trying to do it though. And lastly, document security. Information protection. It's now called Windows Information Protection, but we'll take you through that. And then also instant removal of access to documents. Nothing grates me more than if I send someone a file, maybe on WeTransfer, and they've got it forever. I can't ever stop them doing it. What I can do on M365, I can send that file, I can block them downloading it, I can block them print screening it. Whenever I want, I click a button and it just stops sharing it with everyone. Even if they've got a physical copy on the device, they cannot open it going forward. Also the ability to track data, track sensitive documents, and instantly pull back that access whenever you want, and also give it. So one hand give, one hand take away, but it will kind of meet our evolving needs on there. Yeah, going there. So what else can we do on there? Well, secure access and protect identity, defend against cyber threats, and easily secure and manage your devices. Let's break it down. Let's have a little look onto the rest of it. Let's break it down bit by bit, and then hopefully bring us up to the last 5 minutes or so by the time I've done that. So the identity protection, we talked about it earlier on. Protect against lost and stolen passwords, secure access to work apps, and then enable remote desktop access. All of these things are coming, you know, I'm sure you can all understand and all appreciate the use for this is going through the roof, especially around lost and stolen passwords. It always amazes me that we use biometric security to unlock our mobile phones, yet on the train, the amount of people I see unlock their laptops with a PIN number. All you got to do is have a little look and you've got access to the device, technically, if you were to steal it. All right, so how do we protect against that? Well, we can put, we're about to see on the next slide, secure access to work applications. Again, authenticate. Who's actually accessing my data? Who's seeing the applications? Who's on that user? Is that user even in the right country? And then we've got remote desktop access as well. Passwordless technology, and protecting against it. MFA will protect against 99.9% of identity attacks if you use multi-factor authentication. It doesn't have to be SMS and voice. Actually, SMS and voice is being phased out in about 6 months' time. So people aren't going to be able to use text or voice authentication for MFA. Do this. Windows Hello, Microsoft Authenticator, and biometrics included for free on there. Right, Microsoft Authenticator is one of the best authentication apps. I use it for my personal life as well as my business life. And it just means that I know every single time I'm accessing the data, I'm authenticated. It also plays into the wider part of it as well. I can use push notifications. Again, they're free to set up on there. So really, we've got some good ways of doing it. And we've got a benefit off the back of it. You know, nearly 100% of identity attacks can be stopped with MFA. Conditional access, one of my favorite things. Conditional access, effectively, it used to be an enterprise product. But what it does, it looks at the 4 things on the screen here. It allows anyone to access any data at any time as long as these 4 conditions are met. First of all, the location, the device state, the user in the application. The last one is the risk. So for me, if I log on my device, I've got a Windows 11 device, I've got a Surface, I log on, my device state is fine, my location is in the UK, it's in London, I'm using the right applications. But all of a sudden, I try and start pulling large amounts of data off my finance SharePoint, and I never, ever do that again. It will kick me off my system and get me to re-authenticate. Hopefully highlighting the fact that if someone's got incorrect access to it, they'll be kicked off and they can't authenticate again. Now, if any one of these conditions aren't met, so say I log on from my device, but my device is now in South America or in America, won't let me log on. I'll have to re-authenticate. You can see what it allows it to do. It allows access to everything. It gets you to enforce MFA, either per user per app, or blocks access to it. Another great way of explaining this is I was out in Turkey a couple of months ago doing some work out there. Logged onto my device, I authenticated with my credentials. I obviously wasn't at home because I'd authenticated and I'd done everything right. That's fine. But it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I started downloading quite a large amount of data off my SharePoint to build some new presentations. Because that was out of my normal working hours and because it's out of my normal behavior, it stopped me accessing those documents straight away. I had to re-authenticate and then get my network manager, who ironically is me anyway, just to authenticate it again. So we can put some real strict things in place. If a device goes missing, conditional access would stop that. If you're looking at AI in the future, conditional access is your kill switch into AI on that as well. Looking to defend against cyber threats and data loss. The benefit of M365 is actually it works in conjunction with any security solution you have as well. So you don't have to have everything into M365. They just have benefits on a lot of stuff. But if you do have existing solutions from any other third-party supplier, and it actually integrates with it really well. But let's have a look on here. So how can it help against phishing, against spoofing, visibility into cloud apps use, and confidential business data? Well, how does it do that? First of all, Defender for Office 365. You might have seen it. Any link you click on gets scanned. Any link from Teams, email, external web, document. If it's malicious, it will look like this. Open this website, might not be safe. You still get the option to anyway. Any attachment that comes through, whether it's Teams, email, SharePoint, gets scanned, gets looked through. And also as well, Windows devices, ransomware, Microsoft Defender AV, if you're not using a third party, also uses protect ransomware. So things like the WannaCry, technically impossible to happen on there. Small chance it could happen if you haven't got the right security set up. If you've got it set up in the right way, it'll protect against that. Information protection, again, it's one of my other favorite things. The fact I've got favorite security products probably says a lot about me as a person. But AIP or Windows Information Protection, what it does now is every time you create a document, you put a label against it. Now the labels are set out by administration, but you can have a label that might be a personal document, not restricted document, internal, confidential, and secret. And whatever you do with that, it means that only certain people can see that document. For me, in my business, we have an internal document set, which means that if I send that to anyone, they must have my domain. They must be authenticated onto my domain before they can open that document. If I was to send it to Eve or Ricky, they wouldn't be able to open it. It would just be a blank screen when they opened it. If they tried to save it, it wouldn't happen. If they took it offline, they wouldn't be able to open it from there. What you can also do, and it ties back into what we talked around, your security groupings and your dynamic groups. If I go through and say things such as, cool, this document is for sales only people in sales in that group will be able to see this file. So again, it goes back into kind of keeping us safe, keeping us secure, making sure the right people see that document. You can even go through onto here if you have a highly confidential or a strictly confidential, and you can go through and you can just say, hey, actually, again, the features we talked about, we're not going to allow screenshotting. We're not going to allow printing in this document. We're not going to allow it to be opened after 5 o'clock at night. You have to be in this user group. If it gets forwarded, the document doesn't even exist. You can track it. It's a whole load of stuff you can do on there. It actually makes quite a nice proposition to have, a real nice proposition. The default labels in M365 Business Premium just come out as a standard document, but you can add as many as you want. Again, future-proofing for business. Any kind of AI solution you're looking at, it will need this to power the access to the documents. Worth doing. Have a chat to CSG about that because it is genuinely quite an interesting thing. The other thing you've got as well, cloud app discovery. Shadow IT risk is becoming a massive thing. That's where people use work devices for things they shouldn't be using it for. Now, harmlessly, I'm not gonna lie, the Euros were on. Have I looked on Google Sport or have I looked on Paddy Power to see what the odds are on England winning? Yes, I have. Have I done it through my device? No, I haven't, but I've still been on those websites to have a look. We're human, right? Especially working from home. It's my device. I'm having a quick look on there. But what the nefarious reasons can be off the back of that is actually if people are uploading huge amounts of data or visiting websites or applications that could be quite detrimental to your business. And what Cloud App Discovery does is it allows you to have a complete overview per user. As we can see on the screen here, we can see, right, this person has 305 applications. They've got 2,541 IP addresses we're going through. 3,453 users. We've got 336 gig of data, uploaded versus download. We can go through and we can see, right, cloud storage in big green is sanctioned, but red is unsanctioned. So when we break that down a bit more, we go, okay, look, and the other is blue. If we said everything has to be done on OneDrive, well, actually, why am I uploading 120 gig onto Google Drive? Why am I uploading stuff onto Dropbox? Why am I uploading stuff onto Facebook? So you can start going through and seeing where your data is going. Not only that, you can see what email addresses we use to log on, what application and what data destination had the most there. So we can see this one. We've got Johnny at MCAS Test 19. It's done 122 gig of data. And if we click on there, we can see all the app's headquarters locations as well. So if we've got data in place saying, look, we absolutely cannot send data outside of the EU or the UK, actually, why is this application based in Central America? Why is this application based in South America or Australia or New Zealand or Russia? We can go through and see. The same way we could also see what unsanctioned data is being sent. You know, whether it's New Relic, whether it's Mega, whether it's any torrent links or anything like that, actually being able to get a top-down view and really break it down. You get high risk, you get low risk, you can instantly block from that, you can block access usage. There's a whole load of stuff you can do at the click of a button to make sure that person can't do it. So again, we're not stopping people accessing data, we're stopping people sending data or downloading data from the wrong sources that could either jeopardize our IT security, our infrastructure security, or our reputation if something bad was to happen off the back of that. Real good thing to have, and again, it's included free with Business Premium on there. Now we talk about managing devices. Managing devices is one of the biggest struggles that we have in the modern workplace. If we buy everyone a device, it's great. If we give everyone a work device for mobile, that's absolutely great. If we go outside of those bounds, we have a few issues when it comes to that. So on the top of it, if we have a look here, we've got two ways of doing it. We've got mobile device management and we've got mobile application management. MDM basically means you access documents and data through a company-owned device. Mobile application management means that you can access data from your personal device, but still in a secure and compliant way. Now, the end user sees no difference on this. The only thing that you need to know is that as a business, you have peace of mind knowing you are compliant, you're secure, and data cannot be lost from someone else's guest device on there. Now, if I make this a bit easier to understand, if we have a look at the next screen on here, mobile application management on this one, effectively, if someone brings their own personal device onto a work environment, it allows us to do two things. First of all, they can download the applications we want them to download. We can't say what they are, but we can say, look, go to Office and download this. When they log on to those applications, they have to authenticate only to log on to the apps. We don't need to put an image on the device. However, once you're on there, it basically means that you have control over what they see, when they see it, and how they access it. You don't have to enroll the device, don't have to image the device. Also, as well, you can't see anything else on their personal phone, and their personal phone can't see anything that appears under a managed app. Now, the benefits of that are two things. If I access my work data through mobile application management, if I try and copy an email and paste it to my any personal apps, it doesn't work. If I screenshot, it doesn't work. If I try and copy onto a different app or paste or forward, it doesn't work. All the security you have in place on your M365 tenant carries over onto this. Viruses, virus protection, antivirus protection, phishing protection, malware protection, anything at all gets carried onto that just for the work applications. Customer, if an end user doesn't work for the business anymore, you press a button, they can't see the apps. You don't have to worry about deleting the whole phone on there. It can also be done for guest devices as well. So you can see here, can't copy. Well, you can copy and you can paste, but you can't to personal storage, personal apps. You can't screenshot, and basically you can secure data. One of the biggest things on there. Now, just for the last 5 minutes, you can quickly talk about Defender for Business as well. However, other security is available. If you've got other security in place, it works side by side for it. You can have a look on the stack here. But effectively, much like the entire kind of follow-up from this session that we've got, is that everything along the way should make it easier for you to do. We should be able to access our documents in an easy way. We should be able to access our security needs from an easy way. Make sure that we can communicate, have things like Teams, have meetings, have follow-ups, have recordings, share notes in an easy way. Security has also done that as well. Enterprise-grade protection, all used to be included in P1, which is a very expensive product. It's now included in here. Anything up to 300 employees, easy to use. It's a bit like deploying Teams. It's a bit like deploying all the applications you know and love, Office and everything else. Very easy to do. Click of a button, you can get on there. Also, as well, it's cost-effective one. Now, if you do have Sophos or anything else, it works hand in hand with it. You can complement each of the securities in a certain way for there, or you can elevate your security onto it as well. Sorry, just going back onto that slide just to expand on that very quickly. We talked ransomware, we talked cyber threats, we talked phishing, we talked QR code phishing, called quishing. That is protected on it, easy to use, again, out of the box to a certain degree, but working with CSG to make sure they can give you a tailored security solution is the best way of doing it, and then cost effective as well. Have a look on here. How does it compare? Other ones you got? So sometimes other businesses haven't got the visibility Microsoft has. So it's easier to go through and to manage a vast amount of data very quickly, analyze that and protect against it. Doesn't always block malicious websites. It'll be very good at one thing. Defender for Business goes through. Obviously, you've got proven visibility. Time for attacks remediation is down to pretty much zero. Automated investigation, vulnerabilities and critical assets and everything. There's a lot to do on there, and it makes it a lot easier. Now, previously, we talked earlier on about all the different solutions we have. Everything that you can think about on this screen is something we have to consider. Like malware, phishing, ransomware, zero-day, supply chain file lists and vulnerabilities. Every single one of them can be mitigated against with M365 Business Premium. Every single one. But the other big features you get in there as well, it's not just about the apps. It's not about how good Teams is. It's not about how good, Planner and the other features are. Actually, where it comes into its own is this: asset discovery, endpoint detection, remediation, signatures, antivirus exploit mitigation. Now, if you've got this working hand in hand with another third-party solution, it also works incredible. Standalone, it's great. If you've got it, absolutely fantastic. If you've got it in a third-party solution as well, they can work hand in hand to real kind of enhance you on there. Protecting the endpoint is hard. I don't care what anyone says. Like I said, I do work with end users. I work with companies such as yourselves on the call to build their security solutions out. Three things that go with it, right? Time and skills, multiple solutions, and infrastructure does cost more money, and ultimately performance. You take a hit on there. So not everything. I know Sophos are actually really good, but some of the other stuff. If we have a look on this screen, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're absolutely working with in our ecosystem at the moment when it comes to security. And actually, we need to simplify as much stuff as possible. Might be one or two solutions you put in, might be three solutions you put in. It might be Microsoft, might be Sophos, might be something else. But actually, if we can condense all of this, because this also comes into that return on investment conversation, right? We need to be able to access our data. Well, there's potentially a lot of fails on here if something goes wrong or talking to each other. If we're looking at future proofing and going forward, there's a lot of stuff on here that could be a blocker to that. So why don't we find a solution that makes life easier to manage, easier to secure? Me as the user, I don't get frustrated because I can't get on. I can't remember my password. I can't forget my password even, or I can't, mess up anything or infect the system, so to speak. But actually allows you as the manager of that network to give me a secure place to work. Sounds like quite a good little environment we've got going on from there. The other thing to mention as well is that I think from a security standpoint, if we can get a solution that secures us, again, this future-proof thing, AI is going to blow everything out of the water. And I think AI is going to add a massive, massive layer of complexity when it comes to file access, file security, data security. It's almost like getting ahead of the game. If you don't have an AI strategy now, it's absolutely fine. Not many businesses do. So in conjunction with Microsoft, I write for Microsoft their adoption plans and a lot of their work with Copilot. And the amount of end users I speak to that don't have an AI plan, they just know at some point in the future they're going to want it. There's something you kind of have to work with. Start putting that security in place now. You don't have to go like full on lockdown with AI enabled stuff, but actually, if you're sat there thinking, I wouldn't mind using something AI wise in the future, at least get it in place now for that security. Last thing to mention, everything we've talked around on here is solely based on everything you see. And what I mean by that is a very ambiguous statement. Everything we've talked around in terms of collaboration, end user experience, accessing your data, works on all of this. Whether you've got Windows or Mac or absolute renegades like myself out there that use Linux, Microsoft covers that. M365, you will have the same experience with the same security. Whether on mobile devices or virtual desktops, you get the exact same experience on there. It goes back to the whole back in 2002. If I had a mobile phone and I lost it, I was kind of lost a bit because I had to go and buy a new one, find all the right numbers and put it all in. Now I can just cloud onto anything at any time. I can access any of my data at any time. If I lose a phone, within 20 minutes, I can be up and running. The same way that we expect for our businesses as well. We just need quick access to data, secure access to data. It shouldn't matter where I am, what I'm on, what device I'm on. I just need access to it now. Now, last slide I'm going to talk about future-proofing with M365 Business Premium. Microsoft are ahead of the curve in a lot of spaces when it comes to computing, AI computing, cloud computing, and everything else. The big elephant in the room we haven't talked too much about, and Eve had to reel me in on this a few times when we talk Copilot, because I think Copilot is going to change the world. AI is going to be the future of computing. Whether you're on that journey now, whether you're on it in a year's time, 2 years' time, you will need to make sure that your solutions are in place for it. you don't want to be playing catch up before you can either kind of take part of the game. So now, simple steps to get ready for AI and to get ready for future proofing. Business Premium is that ultimate kind of feature. Even if you're using third-party solutions, even if you're using other stuff now, start exploring what Microsoft can do. Microsoft, anything that's built by Microsoft or Microsoft works extremely well. When you're deploying stuff, when you're building your security solutions, and also as well, future-proofing, Microsoft are constantly evolving what they do in terms of how to service you in the best way. You know, the fact that they've rolled out a completely new operating system because it's more secure, it wasn't because they wanted to put a shiny new OS out there. It's because there was security gaps that weren't being addressed in their original OS for Windows 10. The same way with M365. You know, M365 is constantly evolving and constantly putting tools in. Now, for the AI world, you might not have the full AI features, but actually, if you want to start playing with things like Power Apps, Power Automate, even Power BI, the best way of doing it is getting kind of the foot onto the ladder now. There's loads of stuff that CSG can do to help that, whether it's workshops, whether it's working you for proof of concepts. So it's reach out and kind of see what their analysis is and what their recommendations are in terms of working with you for the future. I've worked with Microsoft for a long time. I've seen them release products that have been good. I've seen them release products that aren't so good. Microsoft Vista, if anyone remembers that, Windows Vista. Oh no, sorry, Vista was good. Windows 8 wasn't the good one. But actually now it's kind of over the last 2 years, especially after the kind of lockdown and everything that happened, Microsoft have really stepped up to the plate in terms of giving you real value for money and actually real tools that you can work with. Yeah, we're not just selling Office anymore or buying Office when we buy it. We're actually going through now and having a complete solution to meet our needs. And the very first thing I said was, we work from remote locations, we have more data than ever, we spend more times meetings and communicating, and actually security risks are through the roof. Hopefully by the end of today, we're seeing that actually we can fix some stuff on there for you. So I'm going to pass back over to Ricky and to Eve. I'm just going to ask, was there any questions at all during that presentation?
Firstly, thank you so much, Dan. That was really, really great to listen to. So thank you for that. And yeah, we have had some really interesting questions through. So we'll start to read them out now. So the first one, so what's the biggest security benefit for customers on M365?
I'd say the biggest security benefit is that everything's in one place, and that your security is looking after everything from the moment you log on to the moment you access your servers, to the moment you access your files. It's in one consolidated place, and it's basically looking at everything all the time. So I'd say the biggest benefit from there is simplicity, out of the box usage, simplicity, and it's the constant updates and constant monitoring that Microsoft have from it.
So a bit personal one for you. What tools do you use and what do you feel have the most value?
What tools I use? For me, Planner. I spend most of my life on webinars or talking or training. My admin is absolutely horrendous. I'm dyslexic as well, so it makes it a little bit harder when I'm trying to type. Planner for me actually just enables me to go, right, I'm doing this with Eve and Ricky today. I need to get this done by 10 o'clock. I can literally type it in a Teams chat or just have it as a little button on a Teams chat. And then just from that one kind of throwaway type or comment, it can be integrated into my calendar. When I log on to office.com, it will say you have outstanding tasks. I can link it into kind of like that wider ecosystem of stuff as well. And because it's all built to work together, it makes it quite nice. If you throw AI into the mix there, it just becomes scary how organized I can be.
Yeah.
And then two last ones. What does the future look like from an M365 and cloud compute view?
I think we're going to see a lot of consolidation over the next couple of years. AI obviously is going to drive everything. Now, there's a lot of players in the AI space at the moment. Microsoft with Copilot and Microsoft with OpenAI are obviously driving a lot forward. I think the future of cloud is going to become a lot more software as a service for everything. I think we're going to stop buying physical products a lot of the time, stop buying physical hardware. I think it's going to come a lot more cloud-based. The benefits for us are absolutely incredible because it doesn't matter where I am, I can still work. I can literally go and sit in the library around the corner and still give the same experience. Devices are getting better, AI is getting better, but the foundation of it will always be what Microsoft are pushing out at that time. And at the moment, it's M365 and Windows 11. And those two things combined give you a real secure. Because ultimately, we just want to wake up and be secure in what we do. We don't want to have data leaks. So
we've had quite a lot of questions. So what we'll do is we'll go through them all, and obviously we'll reply back to everyone who's attended today in it, and
make sure they get answers.
Yeah, exactly. With the answers from CSG.
Well, thank you so much everyone for attending. Really appreciate your time. Our next webinar event will be surrounding CSG's new service, Lighthouse Patching and Endpoint Vulnerability. This date will be confirmed, so we will send it over to you. Whoever's signed up, we have that information sent over to you. So thank you so much, and thank you again, Dan.
Yeah, thank you from us all. Yeah, like I said, thank you very much everyone for attending today. And yeah, if you've got any questions, please either email the office at sales@CSG, or please phone us on our phone number. And yeah, obviously we'll get an account manager to speak to you directly and work with you to your cloud services.
And achieve all the wonderful things that Dan's spoken about today.
Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.